I'm Marty Stauffer. Our most common wild feline is the bobcat. It's a perfectly designed predator, quick enough to catch a tiny mouse, formidable enough to bring down a full-grown deer. The bobcat, named for its short tail, is shy and solitary, but it's not all business like other cats. It loves to play and will often pester its prey to death. It's easily confused with a close cousin, the lynx. Many observers can't tell them apart in the wild. Though having similar roles in nature, each has a unique personality and lifestyle, so they often compete. Let's find out why the winner is almost always the bobcat. It's hardly bigger than a house cat, but this little bundle of nerves is one of the most fierce and versatile predators in the world. It roams our western mountains and deserts to elevations of about 10,000 feet. It hunts among the cypress bayous of our southern swamps and the hardwood forests of our eastern woodlands. It's at home on our plains and prairies. The white tip of its tail sets the bobcat apart from its cousin, the lynx, which has a black tail tip. The bobcat also has a far more diversified range than the lynx. The bobcat is found from coast to coast and from Mexico to the Canadian border, across all the contiguous states. The range of the less common lynx stretches north across the great boreal forest of Canada. Only in a few isolated areas of the northern Rockies do the ranges of these two cats overlap. Though both animals are superb nocturnal hunters, the lynx has a relaxed personality, while the bobcat is fiercely aggressive. In this rare encounter, the lynx has a slight advantage in size, weight, and reach. But the bobcat has the more important advantage of a ferocious disposition. The lynx is ready to quit, while the bobcat seems to be eager for more. The long-legged lynx, with its large, broad feet, is perfectly adapted to snowy country. Yet it is the one that retreats, leaving the bobcat to relish its moment of victory. In the northern Rockies, as cold winter nights give way to warm spring days, normally solitary bobcats come together to mate. About 2 months later, a female will bear from 2 to 4 kittens. Blind and helpless at birth, within 10 days their eyes open and they follow their mother out of the den into the sunshine. A bobcat mother is devoted to her kittens, but she's quick to sense when it's time for them to learn the lessons of the wild. The mother twitches her bobbed tail as if beckoning her kittens to follow. But she soon leaves them alone to discover the world for themselves. For the kittens, everything is new and strangely inviting. Their instincts urge them to investigate this quick-moving weasel. Curiosity is the best teacher for any cat. Weasels may be small, but they're very feisty. The weasel's needle-sharp teeth and furious defense only serve to excite this kitten's equally aggressive nature. That is, until its sibling clumsily enters the act and gets nipped on the backside in the process. Finally, the kittens tire of the game, and the family moves on to other lessons. The male bobcat usually disappears after mating and seldom takes any part in the training of his offspring. All that these kittens learn will be taught them by their mother. Natural landmarks, such as streams and mountain ridges, help define a bobcat's territory. Scent marks are a primary means of identifying home ground. Water is anything but a barrier to a bobcat, especially when a meal of brook trout is involved. Contrary to popular belief, most species of wild cats actually enjoy water, though few are as clever at fishing as the bobcat. In summer, the trout are at their most succulent, perfect nourishment for growing kittens. Bobcats are found in virtually every life zone in North America, from the driest desert to the wettest swamp. The swamplands of southern Alabama are ideal breeding grounds for myriads of creatures. Ideal breeding grounds make rich feeding grounds, and here the bobcat thrives on a varied diet. It's not clear whether the bullfrog is play or prey, but it soon appears that there is another, more serious player in the game. Opting to keep its meal, the bobcat leaps for the nearest tree. Like all cats, bobcats are excellent climbers, but then so are bears. In this game, the only real loser is the bullfrog. For the moment, the bobcat must be satisfied with a diet of curiosity. Among the scrub oak and ponderosa pines of northern New Mexico, autumn is the time for creatures of all kinds to feed and fatten before the snow flies. A flock of Merriam's wild turkeys forages on acorns and seeds, and a young bobcat, on its own at the end of its first summer, sharpens its claws and its appetite. A bobcat depends primarily on keen eyesight and hearing. Above all, success demands stealth. Unlike wild dogs, such as wolves or coyotes, wild cats have little stamina for chasing prey over long distances. This gobbler seems headed for the wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, the bobcat takes advantage of every bit of cover to get as close as possible before springing. They may have looked like easy targets, but wild turkeys are among our fastest flying game birds. They often prefer to run, as if aware that escape is only a wing beat away. Even a young predator has better sense than to waste its energy on a useless chase. Snow-blasted in winter, sun-baked in summer, our Midwestern plains may be consistently flat, but they're hardly monotonous in temperature. For the bobcat, being able to cope with such variety is not only the spice of life, but the essence of survival. The bobcat's ability to thrive on a widely varied diet in many climates and habitats rivals that of its canine competitor, the coyote. In recent decades, despite trapping and poisoning, both species have expanded their ranges. Though their hunting methods differ, the coyote and the bobcat are primarily nocturnal predators and eat many of the same foods. It's no wonder that they sometimes come into direct competition. The frontiersman, who boasted that he could whip his weight in wildcats, would have been a sorry mess had he ever tackled even one. In a face-to-face confrontation, even a coyote would be hard-pressed to beat a bobcat. But this bobcat has just tired itself out capturing the prairie chicken. The coyote, on the other hand, is fresh, persistent, and clever enough to use bluff instead of getting too close. Across the northern part of its range, a favorite food is the snowshoe hare. The hare is a staple in the diet of the lynx, but for the bobcat, it's only one item among many. On harder, crusted snow, the bobcat has the advantage. But the hare manages to escape to a shaded area where the snow is soft, and it's supported by its snowshoe feet. The bobcat sinks in and loses ground. For every meal it catches, the bobcat misses 10 or more. Yet persistence is part of its character. This little cat benefits nature, and it inspires us with its fierce determination. The range of the lynx is shrinking, whereas that of the versatile bobcat is expanding. In fact, a bobcat den could probably be found within an hour's drive of every major city. Some cats do prey on livestock, yet overall they're valuable as rodent controllers. And though limited by man's desire for its fur, this animal seems here to stay. The adaptable bobcat. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America. I'm Marty Stauffer. In my opinion, the lynx is the most beautiful of North America's wild cats. It's also one of Mother Nature's living mysteries. Although we're only starting to unravel the hows and whys of its life story, we do know where this elusive feline lives. It's here that our story begins. Duluth, Minnesota, a thriving metropolis in a land of lakes. Above it, Superior National Forest, gateway to the great North Woods. This vast boreal forest stretches from the rocky coast of Maine to the Rocky Mountains of the West. The lynx once roamed these woods. It continues to live throughout most of Canada, but not many areas below the border can boast of lynx. Urbanization and overtrapping are to blame. Its fortune is linked to that of the snowshoe hare. Every 10 years or so, the populations of both predator and prey rise and fall almost in unison. Let's find out more about this mystery. Join me on a journey to where the winter wind blows cold and the snow falls deep, to the wild realm of the North Woods lynx. The boreal forest, black spruce, white birch, gray winters. Of all the wild cats, the lynx alone has adapted to make its living in these northernmost woodlands. Equally well equipped for life here is the snowshoe hare, with its soft, snow-white coat and wide, fur-covered feet. The lynx stalks its quarry. The hungry and the hunted. An age-old relationship. Both animals have trained their entire lives for these few minutes. This is their Olympics. This moment marks the supreme effort of their existence. They're not enemies, but rather they're united in a bond that is as essential and eternal as any on earth. We humans hate to see a cute little bunny caught and killed, but the snowshoe hare is not as helpless as it might appear. Although prey is often hard to catch, some lynx will manage to survive long enough to reproduce. Nature has timed their breeding season for late winter. The adult male and female, on their own for most of the year, now come together to make new life. Courtship is a relatively noisy affair for the normally quiet cats. First, they get to know one another. Then the slightly larger male on the left calls and presents his head to the female. As she comes more into heat, she starts to return the male's attention. Once she's ready, the pair will mate several times over the course of a few days. In a gesture common to the cat family, the tom bites the back of the female's neck during copulation. After mating, he will leave her in search of other females and will never know the kittens that are born 2 months later. In spring, the female gave birth to 2 tiny kittens in her den under a hollow log. 2 months later, Summer finds them sampling some of their first solid food, a ruffed grouse that their mother has delivered to the den entrance. By autumn, the kittens are ready for some important play hunting on their own. Mother watches from the den, sensing that they're old enough for this independent outing. Curious as all good cats should be, the kittens come across some other creatures of the North Woods. A badger digging in for winter. And a white-tailed deer. It might have to run for its life if the kittens were older or hungrier. In an area rich in prey, a single lynx will restrict its hunting to about 1 square mile. When prey is scarce, they must travel farther. Winter. The family is still together now, but will probably separate before next spring. The snowshoe hare population has plummeted to the bottom of its 10-year cycle. Now, there is only 1 hare for every 12 acres. At the peak, there could be nearly 100 times more, as many as 8 for every 1 acre. Because the hares have exhausted their winter food supply, the lynx, in turn, face possible starvation. Her family will not eat tonight. Winter wears on, with fewer and fewer hares to be found. The family is still a group, but is becoming more loosely knit as time passes. One kitten stays with the female, while the other wanders off on its own. It looks as if the mother and her other kitten are playing, but their play could turn to aggression if they don't find food soon. The mother lynx trained her young to hunt. Now, it's Mother Nature who holds all of their lives in her hands. The chase you saw a little while ago was filmed in slow motion. This one is filmed in regular speed. Watch how fast the lynx and hare actually run. You'll barely be able to see what's happening. Finally, the mother makes a catch. It's odd to me that some people can think of predators as guilty killers and of their prey as innocent victims. Truth is, the first year of life is hard for hunter and hunted alike. This is when many predators die, killed by others, or when they simply don't find food. Not many lynx kittens will live through this season's famine. The mother does not share this meal with her hungry kittens. Maybe she's making the point that her young need to hunt for themselves. More likely, her possessiveness stems from a deep and primary law of nature, species survival. No matter how hard it gets, she will survive to mate and conceive again. It seems cruel, but nature is only concerned with preserving the species. On its own now, one of the young lynx makes a desperate attempt at the only other prey that's still available, ruffed grouse. Near the end of this long, brutal winter, I'm not surprised to discover one of the kittens, dead of starvation. I am saddened, though. This animal is one of nature's finest achievements. Its stiff ear tufts, function like antennae. Its 4 canines are strong and sharp. Its huge feet keep it afloat, even in the softest snow. Its claws are retractable. But I can feel the starved body under its still beautiful fur. This wild cat evolved for survival. Still, just as the snowshoe hare lives and dies, so must the lynx. And the interwoven pattern of their living and dying is as ancient as these northern forests. You know, I always thought that men bought fur coats for women. Call me a male chauvinist, but that's just the way I thought it was. Statistics now show that more and more women are buying fur coats for themselves, and a lot of those coats are lynx. If you're thinking of buying a lynx coat, please don't. I'll be the first to admit that their fur is beautiful, but don't you really think it looks better on them? There are dozens of non-fur alternatives, but if you must choose to wear fur, please select that of a ranch-raised animal, such as mink, raccoon, or fox, and not that of a wild trapped animal that's seriously declining in numbers. Let's leave the lynx skins on their original owners. They wear them with more natural elegance than any human ever could. Do your part to preserve them, so that future generations can also enjoy this living mystery, the Northwoods lynx. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America. I'm Marty Stauffer. Above the Arctic Circle, winter has fallen. For 2 months, the sun will neither rise nor set. Eskimos have lived here on the edge of the polar ice for centuries. Many hours are passed in listening to tales of great adventure. The Eskimo elder has spent a lifetime as a hunter in the Arctic. He talks to the animals, telepathically calling them, asking them reverently to give themselves to him. Over 70 times he has spoken to Nanook, the polar bear, and 70 times the great bear has answered. From Nanook, the people learned how to stalk the seal and the walrus. The polar bear looms large in the mythology of the Arctic people. In ancient times, Eskimos who feasted on its rich red meat believed they would be infused with its legendary courage. The hunter abstains from any killing for 5 days. This allows the bear's spirit to leave her body and return in the form of a newborn bear, a new queen of the ice. It's now March. Although temperatures hover at 20 below, spring is just around the corner. For the highly adapted animals of this white wilderness, the signs of the season are unmistakable. A female polar bear has emerged from her maternity den for the first time since November. Inside the snow cave, a trio of cubs were born in the dead of the Arctic winter. 3 months later, the baby bears have begun to venture into the outside world. At birth, the cubs were blind and deaf, and small almost beyond belief. They weighed about 1 pound. Within a month, they quadrupled their size, nourished on milk that is not only the richest among bears, but 10 times higher in fat and protein than a human's. Now the 2 larger cubs weigh around 20 pounds, but their tiny sibling is what polar bear experts call an underbear. In a harsh land, this little one has almost no chance to survive. Our queen has already left her maternity ice cave with twins. After being sealed up for 5 months, living off her stored body fat, she is lean and hungry. The triplets are too busy to take much notice. If the cubs reach adulthood, they will be able to amble across the ice for hours on end and travel as far as 1,000 miles in a month. For now, crawling the few yards back uphill to the den is a major trek. Eskimos call a bear cub that has left the den Atertak, one who goes to the sea. And that's just where our queen intends to take her twins, her young prince and princess. Within 3 days, the triplets will be forced to abandon the only home they've ever known. They'll also follow their mother to the kingdom of the pack ice. Our bear, mother of the twins, is characteristically cautious. She can smell a meal 20 miles away. The scent of other bears within a half mile must be overpowering. She decides to bypass the den site and the possibility of a confrontation. Male bears have been known to kill cubs, although there is disagreement about how common this is. A female bear could also pose a threat. The cubs follow as best they can, avoiding the crater-like holes made by mother's enormous feet. In the finely spun web of polar life, the cubs' arrival on the ice coincides with the birth of baby seals. The white-coated seal pups are a polar bear delicacy. The queen has lost about half her body weight since last autumn, and she is ready to eat. If the youngsters can make it through their first year, and about half do, their chances to survive increase dramatically. It's May, and endless shades of white contrast with an intense blue sky. The largest predator on Earth is going hunting. She leaves her cubs close by, in the safety of an ice playpen. A scent arouses her curiosity. The birthing lair of a seal underneath a mound of snow is a good place to find a helpless pup too young to swim. But the season for whitecoats has passed, and this is no seal pup. Like the bear, an ermine is also out hunting. Defying the odds, it takes the offensive. Not a wise move on the part of this frisky 4-ounce hors d'oeuvre. Though it hardly seems worth the effort, polar bears often hunt even smaller prey, like 2-ounce lemmings. Score 1 for the weasel. She sets out after larger quarry. Her cubs have grown into 40-pound balls of energy, too noisy and uncoordinated just yet for the hunt. They seem interested in only one thing: fun. Meanwhile, Mother Bear is heading for the edge of the melting ice. As the pack splits, ice rafts are created where bearded seals congregate. The odor from their breath and their bodies is something even a dull-nosed human can smell at a distance. To a polar bear, it must be like following a familiar, well-marked street. The female submerges for an underwater approach to the edge of an ice pan. Eskimos believe that a seal is doomed if it lets a polar bear get within 50 feet. With cat-like quickness, a bear kills its prey, using a powerful paw like a sledgehammer. She gorges on high-calorie skin and blubber before opening the body cavity. As yearlings, the cubs will shadow their mothers' every move. But for now, they can only watch and wait for leftovers. May literally melts into June, with its days of endless sunshine. The cubs are playful and curious, traits that are highly developed in intelligent animals like bears. This 1,000-pound female walrus may be a royal subject, but she's not quite ready to vacate her resting place to a precocious 50-pound cub. Before baby bear gets into real trouble, mama bear comes to the rescue. The twins are becoming strong swimmers. As adults, they will be able to swim 100 miles non-stop. By July, Arctic areas are almost ice-free. Even eider ducks are fair game for polar bears now, as the birds congregate along the rocky coast. Eiders are insulated from the cold by dense down over a thick layer of fat. Some of the warmest sleeping bags in the world are filled with eider down. As summer heats up, they take to the water, more to cool off than to hunt. A polar bear has been known to catch a swimming seal, but it's rare. Still, the curious cub can hope. Every so often, the female takes a look below. Polar bears can dive to depths of 30 feet to hunt for prey. Movement attracts her attention. Closer inspection reveals the ghoulish face of a 6-foot-long wolffish. Formidable tusk-like teeth and powerful jaws for feeding on shellfish seem to discourage the hungry bear. Nearby, gannets soar on long, narrow wings above an inaccessible rookery. While patrolling the shoreline for food, our matriarch keeps a sharp eye on her playful offspring. brief Arctic summer is now coming to an end, and with it, the solitary time the family of three will spend together. It's October, and ice will soon form. The royal family is traveling to a point that juts out into the water where the ice forms first. Their journey will bring them into dangerously close contact with other bears. Big males stalk the point. She takes no chances, challenging even sub-adults who get too close to the cubs. The bears have eaten very little in the past few months. They seem impatient for freeze-up when they can again hunt seals on the pack ice. Strangely, their fur has little insulation value. A thick layer of blubber under the skin keeps them warm. Even so, they fastidiously dry and groom their short coats by rolling on the ice. Other North American bears have longer, thicker coats. Only the polar bear has hollow hairs which filter ultraviolet light to its black skin, where the rays are absorbed as heat. Huge, hairy feet serve as skid-proof snowshoes. The bears make daily treks to the sea, checking on the progress of the polar pack. Along the way, many stop to snack on kelp. Even this most carnivorous of bears eats plants from time to time. There is some dispute about how nutritious kelp may be. Humans use it as a salt substitute and a mineral and vitamin supplement. It is undeniably a rich source of iodine for the polar bears. The ever-present Arctic foxes follow. The waiting bears dig beds in the snow to protect themselves from 100-mile-per-hour winds which batter the cape. Nearby are other royal subjects, muskoxen, known as oomingmak to the Arctic people. Their foot-thick coats, the warmest on Earth, protect these Ice Age relics from any storm. Queen Bear and the twins prepare for the Arctic blast to come. Although it is rare for polar bears to kill muskoxen, the herd takes no chances. Less than 10 inches of snow falls here in a typical winter. Unless it crusts into hardpack, ungulates like the Peary's caribou can easily dig through. Meanwhile, bears take turns testing the thickness of the ice. The huge size of their feet allows them to walk on ice only inches thick. But the surface is still slushy in places, so the vigil on the Cape continues. Once thought to be unsociable nomads of the ice, polar bears are now known to enjoy each other's company. Sometimes the same two bears will pair up in autumn, year after year. As this female and her cub move toward the pack ice, an aggressive male blocks their way. Although he could kill the mother bear, he would run the risk of injury to himself, and any injury in this extreme wilderness could be a death sentence. The male knows the female will fight ferociously to protect her cub, and so he retreats. Not far away, our royal family sees another huge male approaching. The obedient cubs watch and store this learning experience in their memory banks. Of all animals in the Arctic, none is more admired by the native people. To appease the soul of a slain bear, they place its skull on the ice with its eyes facing inland. To do so ensures that its honored spirit will escape to find a home in a white bear yet unborn. Once the ice is heard to crack, the Eskimo hunters rest easy, knowing the soul has found a home, perhaps in the mythical village of spirit bears, and in a new Queen of the Ice. In recent years, thousands of people have spent millions of dollars visiting polar bears in their Arctic home. As the popularity of ecotourism rises, polar bears will continue to be more and more valuable. I hope we can always trek to the frozen north and experience the thrill of seeing the ultimate example of motherly devotion, the Queen of the Ice. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America. I'm Marty Stauffer. Most of us have seen a white-tailed deer. They live in every area of the country, sometimes even in people's backyards. We see them as lovely and graceful, and we hate to see them for what they really are, a prey species, a meal on the hoof for hungry predators. But the reason deer are sleek and swift is because they spend their whole life on the alert or on the run. One of the deer's many predators is the wolf, a creature of legends, myths, and fairy tales. Most people think of it as a savage, natural-born killer, and they think of wolves and deer as mortal enemies. The truth is, although they each depend partially on instinct, both wolves and deer must learn their respective roles as predator and prey. When young, they learn vital survival skills through imitation and play. Their education starts at birth for the wolf and the whitetail. In the wilderness, the seasons are everything. From summer to fall, from winter to spring, the lives of the wild animals are bound to the year-long rhythm of life and death. For the survivors of winter's harsh test, spring is a time of renewal. It is a time of birth for the timber wolf, a predator, and for its prey, the white-tailed deer. The pup will mature into a strong, resourceful hunter. The fawn will become swift and elusive. Yet before these wild babies take their ultimate places in nature's plan, they will spend a year or more, growing and learning, the pups with their parents and pack, and the fawns with their mother and herd. The puppies were born in mid-May and spent a month in the den with their mother. I came upon them wide-eyed and alert as they were taking their first look at the outside world. Mother Wolf is one of the most loving and devoted in the wilderness, but from now on, she's going to find it hard to keep her eye on her very curious pups. As they enter the outside world, they also enter a period of intense socialization, in which they will form lasting ties with each other and with their aunts and uncles, members of the extended family or pack. Throughout spring, the life of the pack revolves around raising the newcomers, and raising wolf pups involves endless hours of very important play. Only one litter is born to the pack each spring. On that litter is lavished all the affection and attention of the adults, even though the babies were born to the alpha male and alpha female. This pack I observed had 7 members. Well organized and disciplined, the pack is ruled by a social dominance order. At the top are the leaders, alpha male and alpha female. Down the social ladder, each member of the pack has a certain rank. That rank is supported and defined by gestures and postures, submissive and dominant, what we could call body language. By using body language, each wolf establishes and defends its position in the pack. At an early age, play helps to decide their places. Birth, the everyday miracle. To witness the birth of a wild animal is rare. I was very fortunate to find this white-tailed doe just as her time had come. Often a wild mother seeks shelter in a burrow or den, shielding herself from hungry predators. But the white-tailed doe gives birth when she is ready, regardless of where she is. The newborn tries out its wobbly legs with some encouragement from mother. Learning to stand immediately after birth is an important lesson for a hunted animal. The fawn will thrive on its mother's rich milk, 3 to 4 times higher in butter fat and protein than cow's milk. A doe's first birth is single, but after that, twins are the rule. Both fawns will have control over their unsteady legs in about an hour, but mainly, for the first few critical days, the fawns lie still and flat on the forest floor, safeguarded by their camouflage coats and relative lack of odor. When danger threatens, they freeze. As soon as they are dry and have had their first meal, she leads them away to a safer, more secluded spot. By late spring, childhood, with all its endeavors and hurdles, has begun. After a reassuring nudge from mother, the youngster tries again. The rocks are a good obstacle course for the fawn, and although it can now outrun a human, more practice is needed before it can escape a wolf. Ears, like radar antennae, scan the air for the slightest sound. The doe depends on her sensitive hearing to locate her fawns and to detect predators. The young whitetails, too, learn to use their eyes, ears, and nose, and to keep walking, always putting more distance between predators and themselves. When lying down, they also try to keep their nose to the prevailing wind. Only the most alert are still alive now, at age 2 weeks. A young wolf will put anything and everything into its mouth, both a terrific game and an important lesson for later. Someday it will have to carry meat for miles to feed its own pups. Its main purpose is to assemble the widely scattered pack for the hunt. And as the pack gathers near the den site, a great group ceremony takes place. Even after a short separation, the pack members greet one another with enthusiasm. The subordinates surround and nuzzle the alpha male. This submissive gesture says they are hungry. Yet no matter how hungry the pack is, they won't begin the hunt until the leader is ready. The pups are too young to join, except in spirit. An aunt babysits while mother goes off to hunt. Deer are in the area. The wolves are excited and expectant as they try to catch scent of the prey. Their excitement grows. They've scented the quarry. Healthy adults can run faster than wolves, but this yearling may find it hard to escape. It tries its mother's first lesson, concealment, but the wolves are too close and too many. It must flee. The yearling was able to escape. About 10 deer get away for every one that is caught. The hunt must continue. This deer tries to stand its ground. Its defense tactic confuses the wolf. Wolves are cursorial, or running animals, and need a moving target. For a moment, it looks as if the tables are turned. But as the pack closes in, the deer must change its defense plan. Again, running seems to be the only solution. Killing, for the wolves, is as natural and inevitable as the passage of the sun across the sky. Mother has brought back meat in her stomach and now regurgitates it for their first taste of solid food. The purpose of regurgitation? It allows an animal to travel far, for the wolves as many as 15 to 20 miles in a single hunt, and bring back fresh food for the young. Nearly every part of the whitetail is used. Its skin and bones make entertaining and educational toys. By playing with all parts of the deer, the pups become familiar with the smell, taste, and feel of future prey. When the pups aren't eating, they're playing. If lucky, they may catch a mouse, but wolves are not born killers. Instead, they are born with certain behavior patterns, running, jumping, stalking, that allow them, through observation and experience, to learn to survive. One day, this young deer and this young wolf will be mortal enemies. But for the moment, both youngsters are still innocent and curious, unschooled in the roles of predator and prey. Because it is a predator, the pup is naturally more playful than the deer. Wolves must search for their elusive meals, so they never stop investigating and exploring. The fawn is also inquisitive, but in a more contained way. It doesn't know what to make of this furry and energetic creature. However, the fawn doesn't run. Its defense reactions are, for the most part, learned. By seeing adult deer run, the fawn too will know to run. Try as it may, the young wolf cannot interest its new acquaintance in a game of hide and seek. Someday, perhaps they will meet again. But now, no matter how far they roam, there is no place like home and mother. For the rest of the summer, the wild babies will run and play, venturing further and further from their homes and parents. They will discover the ways of the wilderness and master vital survival skills. And next winter, the young wolves and the young deer will be ready to take their ultimate places in nature's plan. Summer has been good for the wolf pups, and they too have grown strong. Perhaps by looking at the social structure of the wolf pack, we can find some insight into our behavior. Because 10,000 years ago, we were also group hunters. In fact, some anthropologists believe the social life of wolves to be identical to the life of early humans. There is a dominance order in which commands are given and tasks carried out. Different generations of the same family live together. Many individuals cooperate in the hunting of large prey, and for a prolonged period, the young are dependent on adults to teach them the laws of their society. They provide us with a good example of harmonious communal life. Even the howl may say something. Electroanalysis has shown it to be similar to the human voice. Often the wolves raise their voices in unison for no other apparent reason than sheer joy. The rally call is a spontaneous expression of good feeling. The howling and greeting ceremony now includes the pups. They have found their places in the pack's social order and act accordingly, with displays of dominance and submission. Bonds between all members of the pack are firm. These lifetime bonds are severed when a human kills a wolf. And if the leader is killed, a state of chaos and confusion results. It may take the rest of the pack several years to recover. To get solid food, the pups still beg. Now, at the end of summer, the adolescents have had many hours of make-believe hunting. The day of their first real hunt draws near. The fawn is curious about the strange growths on the buck's head. He's in velvet. Velvet is a kind of modified skin, a nourishing tissue that feeds and protects the growing antlers. When new, antlers are one of the fastest growing forms of animal tissue known. A young deer starts to grow them when he enters his second spring. He will shed them in winter. When growth is stopped for the year, the velvet dries and peels, revealing hard antlers. Right before mating season, the male's blood runs hot. Even the smaller spike buck feels the instinctual call and challenges an older buck to fight. But it's not for the championship. The spike buck won't enter the mating contest in earnest until next fall. The male and female whitetail group together for the autumn mating season. The bucks are in their prime, coats sleek, eyes clear, necks swollen, antlers polished and shiny, and are very attractive to the female's heavy musk odor. Drawn together in an ancient instinctual embrace, the male and female complete the grand circle of life. In 6 to 7 months, the does will again give birth to their fawns. With the mating season over, each animal begins its preparation for the harshest test of all, winter. It is the time when the drama of predator and prey is made vivid. The hungry and the hunted both play out their roles on the stark, snow-swept stage. For all, food is scarce. For the deer, availability of food is the biggest factor determining herd size. The wolves adjust to the number of deer. The young, although not yet full-grown, now look like adults. All have thick winter coats underlined with cold-proof wool. In deep snow, wolves have the advantage over deer, but because the deer have yarded, the snow is trampled down and they find escape easier. One buck stays behind, strong and unafraid. This is probably one of the many confrontations the buck has had with wolves. For deer, each day is a matter of how to eat without being eaten. But contrary to what many people think, a single wolf cannot kill a healthy deer. He graduated long ago from the school of survival. As a gesture of victory, the buck polishes the weapons that have just served him so well. The rest of the pack, including the juveniles, reaches the deer yard and fans out in different directions. The wolves find a deer that was unable to escape with the herd, one that is weak and unhealthy. I thought it was dying of malnutrition. Predators in balance with their prey keep the herd in top condition, like a gardener pulling weeds. The young wolves watch and learn. The deer, young and old, also witness the scene. The stamped forefoot, a warning signal, comes too late for the sick one. The final lesson for the young wolves and for the young deer. For both, it is the end of the age of innocence. It's a familiar smell, first introduced months ago back at the den. The youngsters now know that deer are food and that killing means eating. From now on, they will accompany the adults on the hunt. The wolf drags the carcass to hide it in a safe, temporary spot. People finding wolf-killed carcasses often think that wolves are wanton killers. In truth, the wolf has hidden the carcass until it can gather the pack to come and feed. In the wilderness, death is as natural as life. Unlike humans, animals are not burdened with the knowledge that they too will someday die. The wolf and the whitetail, both are halves of one whole. The wolves, by killing the weak and diseased, allow the strong and healthy to prosper. The deer feed the wolves, and the wolves keep the deer strong. And as long as there are wolves in whitetail, as long as their babies can grow to take their ultimate places in nature's plan, the primitive struggle will never end. In Alaska and Canada, the wolf still roams in fairly stable numbers. But in the lower 48 states, it only thrives in small areas of Michigan and Minnesota. There might be a pitiful few left in Montana and Wyoming. We should protect our remaining wolves in the last few places where they still survive. And we should try to reintroduce them into selected areas, like our national parks, where they were killed off in the past. That was before we realized the important balance that exists between predator and prey, between species like the wolf and the whitetail. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America. I'm Marty Stauffer, and I'm here in northwest Montana, not far from the Bob Marshall Wilderness area. These mountains are the home of a legendary creature, the wolverine. It's been called a ravenous monster and a supernatural being. It's been nicknamed skunk bear because it smells like a skunk, looks like a bear, and has the short temper of both. The Eskimos called it Evil One, and the white fur trappers hated it. But can one animal really be all that bad? We've never really had the chance to find out. The wolverine once ranged as far south as Pennsylvania. Traps, poisons, and habitat loss nearly wiped it out. Today, it's rarely sighted below the Canadian border. It's gone from Michigan, which is still called the Wolverine State. The largest population left in the lower 48 is found here in Montana, and recent studies in this area have shed some light on this secretive creature. Explore with me this rugged wilderness of wolverine country. It's the ultimate scavenger, surviving on the fringes of the food web. It's the largest of the land-dwelling weasels. It's a major traveler among mammals. This bear cat, famous for its unsurpassed strength and endurance, is a savage loner. I'm here to look for this fascinating beast and to find out for myself if the legends about it are true. The carcass of a road-killed deer will serve as bait, and a well-trained team will take me by dog sled into the heart of wolverine country. Only non-motorized travel is allowed in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. I pack for a long, cold trip.
Okay, Nicky, Koya. Hut, hut, hut. Nicky, hut, hut. Nicky, ho, hut, 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 hut.
Here we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
The dogs take off after a fox. I help it escape by putting all my weight on the drag brake.
Nicky, Koya, whoa, 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 whoa.
Funny that they should dislike their wild cousin that much.
Come on, Nicky, Koyak. Whoa, 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 whoa. You guys know better than that. You guys, whoa, whoa. You know better than that. You just about scared that fox to death. Come here, Nicky. Koyak. All right, come on, move out. Move on out here. Whoa. Look at, you made a mess of it this time. Nice mess you made here. Okay, okay. Okay. All right, now this might work and it might not. All right, Koyak, let's do something. No more foxes. All right, yeah, Nicky, Koyak, yeah. Come on. Yeah, must you, husky.
As we leave the frozen lake and head up into the forest, the snowstorm blows in again.
Yeah. Push. Yeah. Push you. Mush. I don't think we're going to go much farther than this. We'll find a good spot.
After a long, hard day, even the dogs are exhausted. Finally, this is wolverine country.
Right up here. Let's make it into these trees. Okay, Koyak. Nicky. Yep. Yeah.
February nights are long and cold, but the moon and fire brighten our little winter camp. Beyond the circle of light, the dogs are resting. And beyond that, the darkness is alive with sounds.
Go ahead. What are you worried about? Wolverines aren't supposed to eat people, and I'm sure they don't eat dogs. Koyak?
A wolverine can be active at any hour of any season. Unlike many other mammals, it does not hibernate or migrate in winter. Grizzly and black bears are in their dens now, so I wonder what's making the dogs so nervous. I have a good idea, but this night belongs to the wild things. I'll wait until daybreak to explore. My plan is to place the carcass in a likely spot and then hide nearby. Some people say that wolverines cannot be trapped. The truth is that a wolverine's keen nose will lead it right into a baited trap. But it usually won't stay there long. It may break off its teeth chewing through the heavy trap chain, or it may even sacrifice a foot or leg to escape. The wolverine is primarily nocturnal, but maybe this feast will tempt one out of hiding. I position myself where I can watch both the bait and the trail that the animals will be using. A stand of trees is a natural blind. A wolf. These wild dogs can go for weeks without eating, and this one may have. Here in Montana, wolves are even rarer than wolverines. A few small packs and loners down from Canada are all that survive. Although it normally hunts live, large mammals with its pack, a single wolf won't pass up an opportunity like this. But I've seen wolves before. It's wolverines that I'm after now. I hope that this hungry wolf will leave some for them. The wolf is not even aware of my presence. A wolverine might not be so bold. They don't like open spaces. I'd like to move in closer in case one shows up. But first, I need to dress for the occasion. In winter whites, I won't be seen by even the shyest wolverine. Any animal that's busy feeding will think that I'm just a part of the snowbank. I move in quietly for a closer look. Another wolf. And on the ridge, a wolverine. It is a hard winter here, judging from the popularity of this bait station. The wolves' acceptance of each other is a sure sign that they're from the same pack. I don't think they'll be as friendly toward the wolverine. The wolverine seems to be the winner for now, but it looks like it senses something else. Another wolverine. Their home ranges average well over 100 square miles each, and the areas of these two probably overlap. They scent mark to avoid each other, and except for a brief summer mating season, they usually fight when they come together. The carcass is reclaimed by the winner. The loser continues on its wandering lifestyle. Wolverines are fiercely independent. Their scavenging way of life has made them so, and they're big eaters. After a few days, only some bones remain of the carcass. It's easy to see the fresh tracks when it finally leaves the carcass and goes wandering again. But following the trail is another story. It climbed straight up a mountain, crossed over a pass, and continued down into the next valley. Then it went right down the face of a frozen waterfall. just a short 20-mile stroll. After 3 days, I catch up with the wolverine in its makeshift sleeping den. Years of human hunting and trapping of these creatures for their frost-free fur may explain some of their shyness. But the wolverine is not a serious hunter itself. Catching a healthy snowshoe hare on the run would require a bit more speed than it can muster. Unlike the scavenging wolverine, the fox is designed for long, high-speed chases. The so-called red fox can be the standard reddish-orange, or it can be a silver fox, which is black with silver highlights, or it can be a cross between these two colors. This is a cross fox, and it looks hungry. The wolverine is not made for the long chase, but it has an amazing sense of smell. It hunts by cunning and craft and thievery. The bearcat moves in. Busy burying the hare for future use, the hunter does not suspect that it is now the hunted. The fox will return to the food cache later, if it's still there. The relentless wolverine can smell food hidden under several feet of snow. Claiming the fox's prize, it shows why it is a steadfast survivor of this harsh mountain wilderness and the ultimate scavenger. Down through history, there's been a lot of bad things said about them, mainly by fur trappers whose trap lines they raided. But I like wolverines, and I hope you've been as fascinated by them as I am. I'm happy to report that the wolverine is a legend that's not about to die. In recent years, they've been expanding their range south of the Canadian border because of legal protection and also a decline in fur trapping. There is a bright future for this wandering, misunderstood loner. Their main stronghold is right here in northwest Montana. But recently, there have been sightings in Washington State, Oregon, and even as far south as California, down in the Sierras. Others have been discovered in Idaho, Wyoming, and Colorado. This unique species has endured because it can live and travel easily where few men care to follow, in remote and rugged wolverine country. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America.